نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي يا ربي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. My respected elders, young brothers and friends and mothers and sisters, this week we also have received questions from some brothers. One of the questions we have received is, when you are in sajda, are you supposed to let your arms touch the floor? The sunnah procedure of doing sajda is that we should not let the arms touch the floor. It is against the sunnah. And number two, we shouldn't let the arms be touching our sides. We should spread them away. This is only when you are standing alone and no one is standing next to you. Which means when you are in the congregation prayer, then you're not allowed to spread your arms. But whether you are offering your prayer alone or in the congregation, at all times you will not let your arms touch the floor. But spreading your arms and keeping them away from your armpits, this is only when you are standing alone and nobody is standing next to you. Can you pray salah without mosque hat? Or is it compulsory to wear a hat during salat? One thing we need to keep in our mind, it is an established sunnat of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to cover the head. Whether one is in the salah or one is not in the salah. You will never be able to prove that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam read any of his salah without a hat. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to wear the turban, the imamah. It is completely against the sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to offer the prayers without the hat. This is the established sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the practice of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in this is the humbleness. When we are standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need to show humility, humbleness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should try our best to follow the sunnat and the practices of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the practice of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to cover our heads while we are standing in the prayer. You should have your own hat. If for some reasons you couldn't bring your own hat, in the masajid, the hats are available, you can use them. Why is insurance haram? can I not get insurance on watches, TVs, and house appliances? The reason insurance being haram is based on two things. Number one, it's like gambling, and number two, interest is involved. How? Gambling, when you are gambling, say if you bought a ticket, national insurance, national lottery ticket, you bought it for 10 or 12 pounds, I don't know how much it is, but you bought it for 10 pounds. Now there is a chance you can win a big amount, or there is a chance you will not win anything, and your 10 pounds are gone. Similarly, when you are having an insurance on something and nothing happened for a year, you've given the money, nothing happened, you didn't get anything back. So your monies are gone for this year. And interest, if something happened and you say you're paying £1,000 a year and in return they give you 10,000. So what this 10,000 you got for 9,000? This is interest. But in some cases where we, by law, we have to have insurance, then we have no choice. On your car, you have to have insurance. You can't drive without the insurance. It's against the law of this country. So in that case, we are excused. But in cases like having insurance for your houses and TVs, watches, it's not jais. Gambling and interest is involved. If one makes haram money but still gives zakat and sadaqah, inna allaha tayyib la yaqbalu illa tayyiba. Your earnings is haram and you're giving. If you're giving a sadaqah, always remember you're giving in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, whenever she used to give the dirahim, the coins in the path of Allah, she used to wash them. And somebody asked her, why do you wash them? She said, I'm giving this in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So anything that you've earned is haram. Through haram means you've earned something and then you're giving in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no reward on this. You can spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds in the path of Allah, which was from the haram earnings, no reward at all. They're saying all the masajids were involved in collecting funds to buy burial plots. This was done on Radio Ramadan. What happened about the funds? Many years ago, somebody whose daughter or someone died, he went to bury her and he saw the conditions of the grave, and then he came on the radio and he appealed that we should have our own graveyard, we Muslims, and all the masajids, they collected some funds. According to my limited information, I think there was about 40 or 43,000 pounds was collected. Until now, nothing happened. But as far as I know, that money is still safe. But if you want more information, you can contact the management committees of all the mosques and they will give you more information on this, what they're going to do with the money. I don't know about it. if I am middle of performing my wudu, and if another brother walks in wudu khana and gives me salam, am I supposed to ignore or reply back with salam? Also, are you supposed to be talking in wudu khana? Giving of salam is sunnat, and replying of salam is fard. Now, the people who are doing wudu, they are required that they should read the ablution du'as. When you're washing hands, what dua you should be reading. When you are rinsing your mouth, there is a dua to be read. When you are inserting water in your nostrils, you should be reading dua. Washing face, there are duas recommended that you should read. So, we should not give them salam, the people who are doing wudu. We shouldn't give them salam, they are busy in something. But if somebody does give salam to them, then he should reply back. And we shouldn't be talking unnecessarily while we are doing wudu. But if a necessity occurs and we need to talk, or somebody came and asked us something, then we should reply back. But we shouldn't be talking while we are making wudu. And the reason behind this is because when you're talking, there is a possibility while you are washing any of the limbs of the body of wudu, there is a chance that something, any portion of that limb may remain, dry. While you were talking, you were focused on your talk, and you were doing wudu, and possibility is that you could, leave a little portion of the limb dry, and if anything left dry, if the arms or the feet or the face, then the wudu will not be done. It will not be valid. So it's best to remain silent and focus on your wudu and complete the wudu without talking. Who should you give your zakat to? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran the people who are entitled for zakat, the fuqara, poor people, needy people, wal-amirina alayha, the people who by the Islamic government they are appointed to collect the zakat. It is permissible to give them their wage from the zakat money. Only those people who were appointed by the Islamic government to collect the zakat, they are allowed to be given zakat. From the zakat fund, you can give them their wage. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ, when in those days when the people who used to embrace Islam, the newly converted to Islam, in order to attract into Islam, the condition is, if they are rich, then you cannot give them zakat. If they are rich, you can't give them zakat. But if they are poor, then they are allowed to take the zakat and you are allowed to give them the zakat. And also of a riqabi, in order to free a slave, you are allowed to give him zakat, so then he can, sometimes in those days, slavery has come to an end. Our Prophet ﷺ put end to this. But in those days, the master used to say to the slave, well, you give me this much amount, I'll free you. You give me this much amount, I will free you. So if in those days, if there was such slave who was told by his master that you pay me this much and I will free you, then he was allowed to take zakat. Wal-gharimina, those who are in debts. Those who are in debts. They've borrowed the money from people. Now they need to pay back to the lenders. But in this day and age, there are so many people who borrow money from people, yet they have the money, and yet they are not willing to pay back to them. You can't give such people the zakat. A genuine person who borrowed money from others for his needs, basic needs, and he is entitled to zakat. But if somebody has so much money and he yet borrowed the money from people and he is not paying back while having the money, such person you cannot give him zakat. Do you need to move your lips while reading Quran? Yes, you can't read Quran in your minds. Sometimes in the madrasa when the students are quiet and the teacher says to them, read. He said, yes, Ustad, I'm reading. He said, I haven't seen your lips moving. He said, Ustad, I was reading in my mind. You can read a book, any other book besides the Quran in your mind. You can read it. But Quran is something that you have to move your lips. You want to get rewarded by reading Quran and you don't want to move your lips? I'm sorry, it can't happen. You don't want to move your lips and you won't get reward. No, this won't happen. You have to move your lips. Without, you can't read in your mind. If the alim just he's pondering over the meanings, that can't be done in your mind. But itself, the recitation has to be with the tongue and the lips, not in the minds. I think that's it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this majlis. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Maulana Muhammed wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.